And welcome to our executive series. My name is Dale McIntyre, and today I'll be acting as your facilitator for the discussions with this panel. It is my pleasure to have with us in the room our CEO, Kevin Pickard, our President and Chief Customer Officer, Keith Nikoloff, and our Chief Technology Officer, Fred Schempp. Thank you, gentlemen, for making yourself available today, and to our audience for answering the questions. First, I'll give you a little bit of background on each of these guys so you'll understand what they're all about. Kevin comes to us by the way of computer engineering. In his academic background, he's got a background in strategy, marketing, finance, and operations. He spent 17 years in various customer-facing roles at Xerox, covering production and office printing, as well as managed services. The last 16 years, he's been in a much more entrepreneurial role, leading Pharos. Kevin brings a constant focus of entrepreneurship and understanding that he has to let go of the world as it is and to embrace the world as it might be. Keith, turning to Keith now. Keith has almost 37 years in the printing business, beginning with 16 years working for Eastman Kodak. After Kodak, Keith took on a consulting role in helping large organizations deal with and acquire the best print technology. He has bought and run digital printing companies as well as a print outsourcing business before merging his business with Pharos. Keith is always looking to solve the biggest problem any organization faces with respect to print. And last, certainly but not least, Fred Schempp. Fred brings over 31 years of technology experience in the document output and instrumentation field. He founded and led 10 Technologies that was eventually acquired by Pharos. He holds numerous patents and continues to practice his art in the world of software technology. You can see that these guys collectively bring 90-plus 100 years worth of experience in the industry that you can tap into today with your questions. To submit a question, simply type it into the question box or that comes up on your screen, or the chat box. Either one we will pick up and add those to the list of questions that have already been submitted. As a reminder, this discussion is intended to help you solve your biggest problems. If you have a question about how to use our products to do a certain task that you're looking for, you'd be much better served by our online community of practitioners at community.pharos.com. This discussion is being recorded and will be made available to all registrants later this week. If by any chance we don't get to the questions that you have submitted or asked during this session, we will answer them and get those back to you as time permits. To kick us off, I'd like to give each of our panelists a chance to share what consumes their mind and work as we approach 2017 and beyond. And we'll start with our CEO, Kevin Pickard. Kevin, thanks for being with us today, and look forward to your intro. Take it away.
Thank you, Dale. And I will add my welcome and thanks to all of you for sharing your most precious asset with us, which is your time. It's something that the only asset we can't create more of. I was going to welcome everybody to a good afternoon. We're coming in from the East Coast of the U.S., but we have also people on the West Coast and all points in between who have joined us. And then beyond that, we have people in New Zealand, Australia, Europe, the Middle East, parts of Africa, as well as Asia. So it is good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night as we look at everyone who has chosen to spend some time with us this afternoon. We also have a lot of industries represented, from the technology industries to financial services to healthcare, insurance, higher education, manufacturing, and beyond. Small organizations and large. Organizations that range from less than 100 employees to organizations of greater than 350,000 employees joining us this afternoon. We also have customers, partners, and competitors all on the line, and we welcome all of you. I think the diversity of who has joined and signed up to participate here says something about what we have in common, and that is that all organizations print. Doesn't matter your size, doesn't matter your industry, doesn't matter your geographic location. We all print, which means we all share in the challenges that come along with printing. As I look at Pharos and our role and what we have learned in our work with you, I'd say we all have one other thing that we share in common, and that is that we don't view ourselves as being in the business of print. We're in the business of change. At the end of the day, the world of printing is changing. It's changing either just by its nature of demographics and the nature of technology and what surrounds it, or it's changing by our choice. Organizations we engage almost universally say that their interest is in printing less, not more, and printing more efficiently, not less, and printing more securely. So it's in changing and creating that environment that Pharos spends our time. And when you look at that nature of change, I'd say one other thing. It's about people. We learned long ago it's people that print, not devices. So both our technology and our business is focused on people. And it's people that face the nature of change. So when we look at change, and as you look at who's joining me here in the room, both Keith Nikoloff and Fred Schemp, you'll see we have both technology expertise and presence from a systems standpoint, and we also have services expertise and customer expertise in Keith from a people standpoint. Solving our customers' problems and helping them get where they need to go and you all where you need to go takes a focus of both. So thrilled to have you all in place today. There's a number of questions that have been pre-submitted, which we'll get to very quickly, and there's also a number of questions I'm sure that will come in as we move along. So again, thank you for spending the time with us this afternoon, this morning, or this evening.
Thanks, Kevin. And now, Keith, what's on your mind as we face 2017 and beyond, Keith?
I'll first extend my own thanks and appreciation to folks on the phone. Apologize for my raspy voice. We've gone from 18 inches of snow last week to 60 degrees outside today. I think I'll start off by saying that where I spend most of my time is really how do we spoil and serve our customers so well that no one else would want them. So to Kevin's point, it's about our people, it's about our technology, but at the end of the day, it's how we serve our clients. And what we hear most often, to your question, Dale, is we hear more and more that it is about technology to an extent, but our customers are asking us for help. How do I use technology? Not for technology's sake, but for the benefit that we get from investing in it, because we don't think people buy a product. People buy the benefits they get as a result of making that investment. And so we spend a lot of time trying to find ways to serve our customers, make sure they're getting the full return on their investment, and try to help them think about print differently. And at the end of the day, I'm the ultimate throat to choke. At the end of the day, it's a single point of contact for any escalations and also any kind of celebration. So it goes on from sometimes not so good to most of the time really, really great. We wouldn't do this if we didn't have customers. We couldn't serve customers if we didn't have people. And I'll pass it over to Fred if you allow me to do that.
Sure. Fred, your turn. What from a technology driver direction setting for Pharos, where you see 2017 going?
So good question, and kind of leads into my intro. You know, as the Chief Technology Officer, my primary responsibility is to, at the end of the day, deliver, you know, the highest value product portfolio to our customers that we possibly can. You know, as 2016 kind of comes to a close, instead of celebrating New Year's, we're working on the you know, product portfolio and the forecast for 2017. So what I thought I'd do is kind of share the top three themes that we really are going to be focused on, in 2017, and give you an idea that kind of what is the highest priority for us from an overall high-level perspective. The first one is really security, whether we call it information security, document security, cybersecurity. That's going to be one of the top themes here at Pharos and frankly in the world at large. Just Google the word cybersecurity and you'll find hundreds of articles written just in the past month. I mean, it's in all of the news, on all of the media. One of the interesting statistics I was looking up is that worldwide spending on cybersecurity is predicted to top $1 trillion over the next 5 years worldwide. So it's really important from a Pharos product perspective, as well as a worldview to help our customers protect their digital data. And we kind of restrict that in digital data as it relates through the flow of the print process. So that's going to be one of the key themes that we're looking at from an R&D perspective in 2017. The second is really usability and efficiency, and this is across all of our products. We've got several initiatives planned to make all of our product suites really easier to use and more intuitive. One of the things we tell the teams is if we provide the best security tools, but no one can install them, use them, and operate them, we really fail in our job. So to go along with every technology we create, one of the things that we try to do is make it extremely consumable by the average user and continue to make that very consumable by our customer base. The third and kind of last theme that we'll see and we'll be focusing our resources on in 2017 is what I like to refer to as actionable data analytics. And what I mean by that is, we will always continue to enhance our data collection and analytics capability, but really superior data analytics is not the end game. The data analytics is only a tool that allows the listeners, our customers, to take an appropriate action. So we will continue to enhance our analytic packages so that these actions are easier for our customers to recognize, regardless of their individual objectives or their corporate objectives. And once they recognize these actions and they start going down that path and take those actions, all of our product analytics will really allow them to track their effectiveness as they go down that journey and that path. So those are really the top three pieces, top three themes that we'll be really focusing on in 2017.
I noticed there's a fourth in there, Fred. You said oh yeah, in the cloud, right? Tell me about that.
Yeah, you added that. That's one theme that I don't mention because, and I really do it on purpose. The cloud's kind of an overused term, that it's an industry buzzword. I personally believe the cloud, like data analytics, is just a tool that allows us to, together, to achieve whatever our objective is. Over 75% of our development resources are working on cloud and cloud-related technologies, but that's really not the end game. The objective of those development activities is not to create a cloud product, but really to create a consumable product offering that's easy to use, efficient in its resource consumption, and effective in driving the change that our customers are trying to create. So it's kind of a means to an end, not an end in itself.
Okay.
And, that's
okay. I just figured you'd talk about cloud as a technology, but that's good.
Yeah.
But cloud is a change for a lot of people, and I know that we've invested in the cloud for the last couple of years. And Kevin, maybe maybe you could take this question. How has being in the business of change affected how we approach and solve problems? I mean, we invested in the cloud. I mean, how does change change our approach of how we solve those problems?
So one of the things we learned early on, down some number of years ago, is we got together with a number of our clients, both large and small, to understand why they do business with us. This was for us to understand how we serve better, to Keith's point. How do we serve our customers? And if we understand why they do business with us and what they seek from us, we know how to serve. What we learned from them surprised us a little bit. We expected and did get some of the challenges of, we'd like to save money, you help us save money. We'd like to be more secure, you help us be more secure. But at the end of the day, there's lots of ways to save money. When we really dove into, but why us? What's the challenge? At the end of the day, what they told us, and I think many of the people on the phone will resonate with this, what their organizations are looking for is for change. How do we change our relationship with printing, and how do we change our relationship with paper? That goes beyond, as Keith says, that goes beyond technology and solutions. It goes into people and the nature of change within people. So we've dug deeply as an organization into change. As an entrepreneurial organization, we have to change. We have to be good at change, and we have to help our customers understand that. One quick example of that is, and I think just about everybody we've dealt with has had this experience at one time or another. One of the best ways to save money is to reduce the dependence on local printing and or improve user-to-device ratio and so forth. But what that means is changing our nature of technology. If you don't think that change is personal, then try removing somebody's personal print. We always get a personal reaction. A personal reaction that many of us would say is completely out of proportion with the change that somebody has inside their life. It's not about the printer. It's about the person. It's about their view of themselves and what that asset means to them, what that asset says about them inside their organization. We also say that printing is one of our biggest habits that we have in organizations. And I would say that we say we have habits. I think it's the reverse. Habits have us. They take us where they're going, not where we are going. And the challenge of changing habits and managing people's emotion has definitely impacted how we engage both our clients, the nature of our products, the design of what features we enable and don't enable. We specifically steer clear of certain features that we think are going to anger and be significant change for organizations, even some that customers ask for, like the ability to automatically redirect printing without letting the end user know. Our experience is that angers people. That works against change, not for change. So it's in our how we engage, the nature of how we think about the problems, the services that we provide, and the technology and features that we offer all get impacted by our understanding of what change, what drives successful change.
Okay. Keith, you're in a lot of customer sites. You travel extensively. You talk with people. How does change play a role in your conversations with them? And I know you're looking to solve the biggest problems that they have out there. How does that play out?
It is the biggest problem, right? And how do you get people to change to their relationship with paper? How do you get them to impact that habit? How do you get them to, how do we help our clients help their people understand how do we get digital and stay digital? At the end of the day, we understand and we believe that people only print for two reasons. I should go back a step. Devices don't print, people do. That's core to everything we do. Whether we're dealing directly with a client or mostly we serve and respect all the channels out there that represent and sell our products. So it really starts with that foundation is that devices don't print, people do. And in order to, if you're managing print, it's not about managing devices, it's really managing people. And we believe that people only print for two reasons, because they want to or because they have to. And the split there is about 40-60. That's where Kevin's habits comes in. And one is on the personal side of his habit, one is a business side habit. That's the workflow we need to, again, re-engineer, get digital, stay digital. And people only print in 3 places. They print in their office fleet, whether it's a BYOB, whether it's a mobile print or whatever. They print in organizations that have large internal print facilities. That's the second place. And where most cost goes and where most savings are is in print that is externally sourced. So part of our work with our clients to solve the biggest problems, Dale, is to build the holistic strategy, because we believe those 3 print environments are intricately linked. In other words, how can you ever think about solving an office fleet without considering the in-plant? In other words, if you're going to have an in-plant, that would suggest if you have it, use it. If you have it, use it, right? Which means the fleet needs to be de-featured, so you encourage work to flow to where it should. And then how can you design, how can you even think about the in-plant without considering what goes outside? Now with digital color, variable, and all the tools and technologies, we like to see things coming back inside, whether it's an outsourced print facility or it's a captive to the organization. That drives utilization. So across all those 3 elements or those 3 print environments, utilization is the most critical. An example, in the office. If you have a base of $100 a month, or you bought a device that you amortized over 5 years, it's $100 a month, and let's say the average volume is 5,000 pages. Well, $100 on the top, 5,000 pages on the bottom, yields a 2 cents per page effective cost without paper, right? Now, if we could just increase that 20%, go from 5,000 pages a month to 6,000 pages a month on that same $100 base, all of a sudden you get 0.167 per page. So you get a dramatic reduction in cost just by slightly impacting where demand goes. It's no different than the print shop. In other words, for a print shop to be where it's most optimal, they have to run at least 1.5 million pages a month. That just covers the cost of labor. So that's where utilization is. So once you go over 1.5, you got your cost covered, and now you get into the 0.03 range that the print facilities work. Same thing on external print. And the more you drive, the lower the cost per unit, and off you go. However, around all of that is where we're working mostly with change, is the understanding that the focus should not only be on the supply side, but really should be on the demand side. If our change activities work, we make print personal, people get out, people are measured and reported on, we see behavior change immediately. And once you start impacting demand, all of a sudden you start reducing the requirements for devices. Once you limit those, you end up reducing your electrical, paper, it goes down, and it has that compounding effect. And that's where you achieve total enterprise optimization in the lowest cost across any measurement that any organization would have. That's kind of where we like to serve and help our clients.
Okay. So I want to back up just a second to something Fred talked about before. Moving towards security. It's on everybody's tip of their tongue. Hundreds of articles written every month about it. And we often say the least secure document is the one you just printed. All right, how does Pharos treat the data as it traverses, as it sits? I mean, what does security mean inside of a print workflow? Just give us a little picture of how we think about it.
Sure. So, absolutely. Once that document is printed, it's really out of the solution's hands, right? So one of the things that we ultimately try to do is make sure that document is printed and it is in the hands of the intended audience, right? So that's our last handoff, is to make sure that user is authenticated, authorized to receive that document, and actually gets in the hands of that user. So that's kind of the end state, and then from there, it's difficult for a solution today to track that paper and secure that paper. What we do upstream from that is make sure that as that document begins its journey in the digital realm, that, for example, it is when a document is at rest or that document is in transit, it is encrypted so that a nefarious person or country state, as it may be, if they have the access to your network or the internet, and that document happens to be, transported on that, that document is encrypted, and even if it is captured, there's nothing that can be gleaned from that information. So one of the things you'll see coming out later this year is end-to-end encrypted workflow. So it is encrypted from the user's desktop all the way to its final destination. So that's another major element, is making sure that that document is secured not only at rest but in transit as well. And then at the device, we make sure that authentication and authorization happens so that that final printed output is in the hands of the intended audience. And then additionally, Dale, I'll kind of add to that things that are kind of around the printed page, and that is scan workflows, so that we make sure that, again, scan workflows are tracked, authorized, authenticated, that scan document is under that same and increasing secure workflow. So we've got tools and continue to enhance the scanned workflow areas. So that really, and then I knew I had one more concept. I get distracted. The third area that you'll see us increasingly play in along our fleet management component is, I'll call it, to coin another word that I dislike, that's a buzzword, is the IoT, so the Internet of Things. When we really think about devices on networks and their vulnerabilities from a security perspective, the printer itself, whether it's a multifunction device, a single function printer, or a scan device, is one of the most powerful devices from a CPU capability that's on your network that is typically neglected. The security of that device and the vulnerability of attack on that particular device often goes unnoticed. So you'll see in 2017 Pharos solutions that come out and that help our customers to actually secure that device, understand that device's vulnerabilities, and make sure that that endpoint is not subject to attack or abuse. So that's kind of something that you'll see continue on, and that will continue as those endpoints on the network proliferate. We'll all need to be sensitive that that those device endpoints need to be secure.
Great. So we had a question. I was going to move to another question. We had one come in that's related to this topic, and it seems to fit best here. So secure release printing isn't encrypted end-to-end? That's the question.
So today, in most of our instances, the secure print workflow is not encrypted end-to-end. In the future, it will be. We've got products and enhancements coming out at the end of this year that encrypt that workflow from the in the internet, so inside your company firewall. Typically, everything that leaves your company firewall is encrypted and protected. We're adding an additional layer that actually encrypts that workflow from your desktop to the device, regardless of that print endpoint.
Okay. So does that impact the printers that are already in existence in people's environments? I think if I'm reading that correctly? We have to customize the printers to support encrypted printing.
So no, we don't. Now the caveat is that if you have very old printers, because we're using an encrypted workflow that goes directly from our solution to a device itself, the device needs to be able to handle that decryption without our intervention on it. So there are an older class of devices that hopefully most of our customers won't actually have in their fleet any longer that do not support an encrypted workflow. We do have hardware solutions that will add that encryption on those. But most of the current generation, in the recent current generation of devices, do support those standards which will allow us to do end-to-end encryption.
Okay. One of the questions that came in earlier was Pharos has been working on technology in the cloud for some time, and maybe this is one, Kevin, you care to answer, about the adoption rate of cloud technology versus our hosted technology. Has the adoption rate been where we expected it to be? How's that played out for you?
Yeah, Dale, thanks. Fred commented earlier about that, and I think the number he was using was 75% of our development resources are currently going into cloud-based technologies or cloud-enabled technologies, not because they're cloud, but because of the value that they bring to us. Fred's comment about making our products easier to consume, easier to implement, that's part of what we get from the cloud. Yes, we've had for the last couple of years, we've had our cloud platform out in the marketplace. And in the couple of years that it's been out in the marketplace, we now have more customers operating off of our cloud environment than we have combined operating off of our on-premise solutions that we've been placing for 20 years. So I think that's a testament to the ease with which customers can embrace cloud technologies. And what we're finding is that it's much easier to consume simple solutions and then to grow those solutions over time from the cloud. It's as simple as basically configuration and flipping the switch. So our aim, and we've had a knock for a long time. Pharos invented a lot of the technologies and direction out in the marketplace, including pull printing 20 years ago. Now there's a lot of competitors in that space. We've built products on premise that handle very complex customer needs with unique scripting capabilities and all the way up to enterprises of hundreds of thousands of users. That robust technology that handles that capability is part of our core differentiation and core strength. But what comes with that is also a cost to implement. And when we looked at how do we make ourselves easier to do business with and how do we make our products more consumable, rather than look at how we make a simpler product that we can deliver on premise, we said the answer we believe is a low to no infrastructure product that can be delivered and installed by customers with only a modicum of IT expertise and something that we can manage, and that's the cloud. So yes, we are seeing adoption at rates that we're thrilled with. I would tell you the other good thing about the cloud is we can handle adoption rates that are double what we're currently handling and more. So we want to see it accelerate, and that is what we're seeing. We are seeing an acceleration of cloud adoption, both customers and business growing at more than 100% a year in that space.
Okay. One of the questions that came in talked about analytics and specifically, I know, Keith, you've got a lot of experience in this. You're always looking for outliers. How do we actually help people recognize what they're looking at with their data? Where do you look first?
Probably 4 or 5 areas, Dale. At the end of the day, numbers matter, right? And I don't think people buy technology just because it's technology. They're trying to get some actionable data as a result. So where we look, if a client or a channel partner asks us to get engaged, we immediately go to pages per user. Pages per user is a metric that extends. I don't care if you're at a university or a corporation. They're all very different, but they're always definable. There's an area that we could benchmark against, or an area we can show improvement markedly by establishing a baseline day one. So baselines are very important for us. If you don't know where you're starting, how do you know if you're doing well or not? So pages per user is a big one. Pages per device, as I said earlier, is another good one because pages per device gets at utilization. Utilization gets at low cost. Color, as we know, is sorry to our channel partners, but color is the still most expensive and an easiest area for us to make improvements for our clients. And then we look into things that might not be so measurable. Kevin said user-to-device ratio, right? And I tend not to think about that because environments are so different. How do you say 5 to 1 is 5 to 1 is 5 to 1, where 5 to 1 might be 50 to 1 in another place? So that's kind of my last factor to look at. But you look at things like large jobs. You look at pages of one. Pages of one suggest that it might be personal because it's a rare case when you have a process that requires one page unless it's a menu in a hospital, things like that. We look at local print, as Kevin said. Desktop print is also more expensive. So combine ink with desktop with color, and you're probably in the north of a buck a page beyond that. We have developed a 125 keyword search, which we run in our corporate environments that tell us these are 125 words that are related to personal printing. And now we have another benchmark from company to company. Was yours 3%? Was it 6%? And what we try to take out of those file names is, was it personal? Was it the Final Four? Was it Alabama versus Ohio State or Clemson, or I'm not going to say Michigan because I'm from Michigan State. So we look to see Christmas. We look to see those areas. And it's interesting to see how you can quantify those things and how you can take 10,000 months to $125,000 a year. Or in one case, more than $3 million to print from the top 125. So that's kind of some of the analytics we look at. I will say we just learned a new one the other day, that when people go to pull printing, it changes the dynamics for their future state design. So somebody was designing, first of all, we always design for lean. We design for where pages are going to be, not where they are today, right? And so when you look at, say, an 8 to 1 ratio, one of our clients, one of our largest clients, said, hey, if I have that, do I really need to have 8 to 1? Could I go to 10 to 1? And all of a sudden, that change in user-to-device ratio all of a sudden eliminates hardware purchases or lease rates that are probably the most significant change or benefit to the client in a pull print solution. So that was just a new one that just came up the other day. But there's more I'm forgetting because we're live time. But hopefully the people on the phone get the drift. And if not, send another question.
Bill, if I could, and I think that's building on what Keith was just highlighting, one of the things that we bump into when we're talking with clients is oftentimes people are looking for the recipe. What's the recipe that I need to put in place to get me from where I am now to where I should be? What is the user-to-device ratio? How much color should I be doing or not doing? What types of devices should I have? How many manufacturers should I have? Should I be doing MPS or non-MPS? And at the end of the day, I think the reality is that it's more about the expertise of the people operating than it is about a recipe. There is no single recipe for an organization that would say that would be the answer for all. It's a matter of building the experience. And from our standpoint, we've recognized that, and part of what we try to invest heavily in is connecting our customers with each other, building that community of expertise, that community of practice. We are all advantaged if the community out there, including ourselves, who are designing and building that print environment of the future, are educated and working together. So that's our customers, our partners, and even our competitors. When we look at competitors and we talk from time to time, we do share experiences with them, try to learn from how they serve as they learn from how we serve. So
I want to take off on that, Kevin, because where Fred is set his intro slide and where Beacon is all about, It's how do we help provide our thought leadership and our intelligence and build it into our software. So all of a sudden the analytics, that recipe cabinet, those answers at least show themselves quickly. So then customers can say, okay, here I am. But then where are my benchmarks? So there are help that our clients need. But what it helps us when we get into the data and roll up our sleeves, we become, it adds differentiation. Differentiation for our clients and also differentiation for the channels that choose to embrace and work with us. That we can bring independent benchmarks, we can give our best practices, and we share transparently and openly to help everybody win, because there is an opportunity for everybody to win in this.
We recently were in Indianapolis with some of our largest collegiate partners, and Kevin, you were there. What's your biggest takeaway from that conference? Learning from customers.
Yeah, a couple things. One is not to be redundant, but data. If you looked at what got them most interested, what got them on the edge of their seat, was their ability to share with each other their print environments and learn from each other, and the expertise, as Keith said, the benchmarks as to what was happening from one university to the next. We had several of the largest universities in the world there, the most prestigious ones, all of whom look at their environment slightly differently, and all of them benefited from learning how the others looked at data and gathered information about their environment. It starts with data. If you want to manage your environment, it's got to start with being able to measure and measure what you have, and then be able to measure the impact of the choices and decisions that you make. And that to me is what I took out from that, as well as how much they enjoy getting together. We love facilitating those.
Yeah. I'll flip this back around to Keith. You've spent a lot of time with health organizations in the past. As you look at the future, what's driving their demands in print?
What's driving the demands for reduction?
Exactly.
All right. So focusing on the demand side, how do we drive print out? Well, we have spent a lot of time in healthcare, and we like that. But right now, it still is, most healthcare organizations are trying to deal with the Affordability Care Act and with the reduction in Medicare refunding, charity funding going down, and it's critical right now around cost reduction. And so we're finding a lot of traction around helping them, starting generally in the corporate headquarters. If we can change people's relationship, use visualization technology and quickly identify outliers, do stack ranking between hospital to hospital and clinics to clinics using those metrics I said earlier, it becomes pretty easy to ask the next question, like, why is one at 1,000 pages per user and another is at 400 pages per user, right? So all of a sudden you begin learning inside, and you say, if they did it, why can't we do it here? And all of a sudden you're getting compounding effects and dollar savings that are quite frankly, they're essential right now for healthcare to invest in the things that they want to invest in, which is not in print. Mostly it's in saving lives.
Right, well, I think that's probably true of most of our customers, right? They're not in the business of print. Print is a business operational expense that they're trying to manage. So in the healthcare world, electronic medical records, you wouldn't think that they would have an issue with print, but they do.
Well, because when you got like 6 or 7 stages of an EMR, deployment, so you don't start reducing print until 6 and 7. So right now we're seeing a dramatic increase of, unfortunately, very expensive single-function devices close to the point of need. And so there, like any market, this one's mostly regulated, but a lot of changes.
Okay, we had a question come in related to the encryption.
Yeah, so I'll just take, so we had a couple questions about my statement. I guess I was a little bit confusing. So I wanted to talk about, when we talked about end-to-end encryption, I'm really talking about a new level of encrypting data completely from endpoint to endpoint. A lot of you are now using the secure print, and you're saying, my data's not encrypted. Well, it actually is, but it is the data packet itself the document is actually not encrypted, but it's transported over an encrypted channel. So effectively, the document is currently encrypted because we transport that over an encrypted channel. So I just kind of wanted to put Bill and others to their mind at rest that I kind of made a misstatement that your documents are encrypted because it's transported over an encrypted channel. So apologize for that confusion and the panic that I caused some of you. So and what we're really talking is enhancing that such that there are no points where that document exists unencrypted.
Okay. All right, very good. So we had one question come in that gets at the ROI. How does Pharos help their customers and their channel partners deliver the highest level of ROI? First, I think it probably starts. I'm guessing one of you guys is going to go back to data.
And baseline.
And I'm getting some smiles in the room.
And business case, and assumptions, and trusting, and transparency, and working together to achieve what the customer is really trying to achieve. You know, some organizations could, if they really wanted to, could reduce 75% of it, but that would cause some disruption. So for us, we always look at not just data, not just analytics, not just utilization, but also end user sat plays a component in that. And I know, Kevin, you're about to say something, so I didn't want to leave it without forgetting about the end users, because if you don't satisfy them, then you're going to have other problems.
Yeah, I couldn't help jumping in on that one as an old-time finance guy. As an old-time finance guy, I can't tell you how many times people came to me and said, we've delivered a return on investment for this particular investment, and I've said, show me, and there's been no way to show, right? So coming from an old finance guy, I've seen more investments that don't deliver returns or don't deliver measurable returns, and I've gotten used to saying if you can't measure it, you didn't deliver it. So yes, it begins with data. One of the things that we have also found, and it's cost us time and it's cost our customers time, if you don't start with and understand the nature of the business case and the reason for which you are investing in doing a project in changing print, you're likely going to have an aborted change. It is going to hit the finance department at some point, and if that data and business case is not compelling, it will and probably should stop. So it should start with building a business case that is demonstrable, measurable in the future, based on benchmarks that have been proven by others in the industry. And it should have a payback that is in a very reasonable time frame. Nobody does long-term investments in the print space. It's not like building a building, right, where you're going to get a 10-year payback. The payback has got to be measured in months. Certainly under a year, and most people are looking for payback in less than 6 months at this point for those types of solution investments. So
part of the thing that impacts that too, Dale, is the culture of the client. What is that culture? Are they adaptive? Do they really want to embrace doing things differently? To tie off of what Fred said earlier, right? The most secure, the most efficient, the most sustainable, and the most cost-effective is the page that never gets printed. So in any of our business cases, we only put in hard dollar savings, despite there are some benefits that might happen. To Kevin's point, our financial people we work with won't allow soft dollars. So we have to demonstrate within 9 months, no more, a return or a payback. And in large organizations, 2 comma saves. If you're not delivering a 2 comma save, you're not going to get attention from IT, or the people who run the businesses are going to go through a change initiative if it's not going to be really material to that business.
Fred,
Yeah, I got to jump in. I hear about finance and all this other, but you know, one of the things when we talk about ROI, there is it's one of the areas where a reduced infrastructure really comes into play, and whether it's a hidden cost or an actual cost, it's a real cost. And one of the things that we continue to do with both our cloud solutions, which really shines on the reduced infrastructure, but also with our on-premise solutions as well, reducing that IT footprint and that requirement that we have for servers on-premise and technology. You know, kind of in the old days when you would go and solve one of these problems, you would bring on additional infrastructure. You know, the customer feedback that we've gotten over the years is we don't want to put in additional infrastructure. We actually want to take out infrastructure. So it's really come full circle that when we go into a customer engagement, the common cry is, how do you reduce my infrastructure, not just keep it the same or not add to it? So that's really where the cloud and the cloud technologies come into place. There's an efficient use of resources. There's that reduction of infrastructure and the cost of maintenance and upgrading and monitoring and all of those real IT dollars that we can take out of your total you know, your total spend, which increases and helps that ROI significantly.
Okay, thanks, Fred. We had a question that came in regarding people that have invested in Pharos Uniprint with increasing competition out there. How do we continue to create a unique solution from the field? Kevin, you want to?
Sure, sure. I guess first of all, thank you for being a partner and dealership supporting our Uniprint product and our higher education market. It's where we started. It's our roots, and still a very important market for us. Our Uniprint product has existed and continued to be developed, and we continue to invest in that Uniprint product. It continues to be the most, I would say, the most robust, the most configurable product in the marketplace. That's how it was designed. And many of our customers have deep integrations into Uniprint as a platform with their systems. And certainly it is, from our experience, significantly more open to that kind of use than any of our competitive products. Where we're seeing competition in this space is competition coming in with very simple products that may do less than what Pharos product does, do less than what Uniprint does, but continues to solve the customer's problem. So if you look at where we are headed from a competitive standpoint, we expect Uniprint to continue to be a product out there. We're looking at making it simpler. We are looking at continuing to add features and ease of use, web interfaces, and not just web interfaces for the administration and our users, but web interfaces for our end users to give them more control over job submission, job tracking, the management of that infrastructure, mobility, and the need to support mobility. So those capabilities you'll continue to see invested in Uniprint, but you will also find both with Uniprint and our corporate product Blueprint hooks that take advantage of the investment that we're making in the cloud. Not just the use of the cloud product and the simplicity of reducing infrastructure and the benefits associated with that, but everything that we learn about the cloud technology and what it takes to have that be simple, easy to deploy, easy to manage, to install, auto-scalable, and the robustness and design of those technologies are making their way back into our on-premise products, and will continue to. So Uniprint in particular, what we're finding is a lot of customers have used Uniprint or a competitor to handle student printing, and that's been out there for quite some time. Where the real opportunity is now in the back office, where thousands of devices are continuing to be used without measurement, without management, without engagement. So we will see more focus on that back office and how we would use our technologies in that back office for simplicity and cost savings, which we're already finding with a number of our largest customers. One example of this integration is our print center application. I was mentioning end users and the ability to access and control their print experience off of our Uniprint product. We built a print center web application that students can use, or any user. That same application is migrated onto our corporate accounts from our Uniprint product into our Blueprint product, and we'll continue to migrate. So you'll see those technologies migrate across platform, on-premise and into the cloud, and from the cloud into on-premise.
I think the key point there, Kevin, though, that you didn't say it this way, but it is really our desire to protect the investment that our current customers have made in both in Uniprint and in the Blueprint product. And I think to the dealer that asked the question, I appreciate you being with us as well, we don't think there's anything like the Beacon platform that Fred's team has delivered to the market right now. So there's a whole lot more coming on that platform that, give us a call. We'll talk to you more about it.
So we have about 5 minutes left. There's a couple questions that have come in that we're going to deal with right now. And if we haven't gotten to your question and you're still submitting them, we will answer them directly as time allows. So the next question is Pharos working towards integration with single sign-on services such as SAML? And we had another earlier one that's related that was, can we integrate and pass on our credentials into a box to another application on the same multifunction device? So Fred, why don't you?
Oh, I was hoping Keith would take that. Yeah, so the one thing that we see when we look out in the industry in general is that single sign-on demand really continues to grow and is being adopted by more and more of our customers. In the global Pharos community and the world at large. We've already completed SAML SSO single sign-on integrations on the Beacon platform, specifically to integrate into some of our OEM, access some of our OEM platforms that are already in existence. So have already done that in Beacon. Continue to leverage, again tying into Kevin's earlier statement, taking that same technology and bringing it back into our on-premise products. So in the Uniprint product specifically, we've got early 2017. We've got work already scheduled to add that SSO capabilities into Print Center, specifically CAS and SAML will be added. And specifically some of the popular SSO solutions in higher education, things like Shibboleth, and then in the corporate world, talking directly with Microsoft and some of the others on Azure AD integrations. So that continues to be a priority for us and our customers to integrate that. So that was part one of your question. Part two,
good memory.
Well, I know I tend to skip part two. Is really single sign-on integration at the device itself, and specifically around when our multifunction software authenticates the user, how do we pass that information on to third-party applications? There it gets a little trickier. That ends up really being a kind of a three-part answer to that. So the first is we continue to track and secure that scan workflow when the manufacturer device, the MFD, actually supports that. Second, we do handle that SSO handoff to other third-party scan applications, workflow applications, where they provide those integration points. The challenge is that not all of the third-party applications, whether they're scanning applications or workflow applications, offer that SSO integration. So where they do, we continue to work with the third parties to support that integration. And then thirdly, where those solutions don't exist, or where the scanning applications or workflow applications don't provide that integration point, we are actually exploring things like providing a Pharos branded or a Pharos created simple scan app that does meet the needs of our customer base where the industry hasn't provided yet. So we're looking at providing those secure scan, secure workflow applications around there, either through creating our own or partnering with other scan, for example, or other workflow applications to do that. And then the fourth I'll throw in, I know I said three, but I have the stage, so I'm going to do four. We're looking at, and we're currently exploring a more robust secure scan workflow where we can integrate into other document repositories and offer a complete end-to-end scan workflow, kind of taking roots from our secure print workflow, so very analogous to that, only in the opposite direction. That's a little longer term strategy, currently isn't scheduled, but we are looking at that and working with partners to really take that to the next level.
Okay, we are out of time, and I'll give each one of you 20 seconds in closing thoughts. If you can frame it in 20 seconds, what one thing would you like to leave our audience with today to think about in 2017? Very quick, and we'll start with Keith this time.
It's all about speed, solving the largest problems for the customer, and making sure that our customers and our channels love us and prefer us more than anybody.
Fred.
If you only give me 20 seconds, I'm going to go completely off topic, and I will leave you with this. 2017, be kind to each other. That's it. No technology.
No technology. Don't need technology to be kind to each other. I love that. I love that. And Kevin, close this out. Your closing thoughts, and we'll be done.
I guess, and if I can't echo Fred, because he already took that one, the piece I would highlight is how important everybody on the phone is to us, whether you are a customer or whether you are a partner. At the core of how we work, our core belief as an organization is that we believe that the best solutions always come from a mindset of discovery. And that mindset of discovery is not just inside our walls. So it's got to go outside. We appreciate the opportunity to have conversations like this, and especially those questions that direct us in ways for us to use our focus to support the way the market is going. So I would say, if we're going to, let's always consider these kinds of conversations as an entree to other conversations. Join our community. Reach out to us if there's things that you'd like to see us doing that we're not, or things you'd just like to engage with us on, because that's where our best ideas come from, and it's where we work best, is with our customers and with our partners. So with that, I'll just thank people for taking the time to be with us today.
And I like all that sentiment. Thank you very much for your time today on the phone, and for submitting your questions. Like I mentioned, we will answer the questions that were submitted, and look for a survey to come out. We'll always be interested in our people. Is this a useful spend of your, in some cases, lunch hour, in some cases, your morning or evening? What's this useful, and how would we do this again and make it even more valuable for you? So thank you again.